Hey guys, if you want to learn how to achieve this gorgeous layered haircut, then definitely watch along for today's video. What's going on YouTube? Steven, the Salon Guy here, and in today's video we have Stephanie, who is going to be my model. What's up, Stephanie? How you doing?
Yeah, great.
Awesome. And this is exciting because, I mean, when you look at her hair, you're like, wow, she's got gorgeous color, and this has been previously colored, so this isn't 100% her natural color, but her natural color for being Asian is like, I'd say like a medium brown, which is very light considering, you know, most Asians have like black hair, but she has a beautiful natural color. Today we're focusing on the haircut, and she has some natural kind of waves to it, which I can see going in through here. Now, the first thing that I'm seeing right off the bat is that when you look at this shape, I feel like the layers could be more blended better, and it could be a better flow of the connection of the layers, right? So you've got this short piece kind of in through here, and then it's a little bit, to me, a little unbalanced where it's like short, disconnected in through here. So I think the whole goal of this haircut really is to give her my signature gorgeous layered haircut. This is really gonna showcase the simplicity of this haircut, but also how we can take someone with a beautiful shape already and even enhance it. So I'm thinking of bringing up the face frame a little bit to really enhance this part and to just continue it all throughout the bottom and the back. So I'm ready to go. Let's get started. All right, we're ready to start Stephanie's haircut, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray 25 spray in, which is amazing as far as a leave-in treatment spray. She does have a little bit of knots going on in through her hair, so the great thing about this, after a couple of spritzes, the hair is able to be combed right through, which will show. So I always like to hold the hair like this in a ponytail and just comb right through, and as you can see, it's literally combing through with no problem whatsoever. So 25 spray literally is a great spray, and also it's awesome for a cutting lotion too. So this is gonna help keep the hair nice and moist and damp throughout the entire hair. If you guys notice, in my haircuts, I really hardly ever use a spray bottle or water bottle because one, I like to cut wet into dry, and I also feel a 25 spray really helps coat the hair so well that it keeps it nice and moisturized. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to create my sectioning, and her hair is a little bit of a side part. So I'm just gonna do my traditional 4 quadrants separating the front from the back. All right, so with most girls who have hair this long, majority of them wanna keep it long, which is completely normal, and I get it and I respect it. Like most of them, the hair is long, but the ends may need a little bit of love and care. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at her ends, and if we feel that they need to be trimmed up, then we'll look at it and determine how much of it needs to be trimmed. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a thicker section because I can see already that the foundation doesn't have as much weight down through here. So I'm gonna take a thicker section going this way, and this way I can have a nice thick section on the bottom to cut. All right, so I'm looking at this. I want to show you guys the before of what her hair looks like on the ends. And as we comb this down, it looks good, and then we get to right into here where it starts to kind of twirl a little bit, and that is what needs to be trimmed up. So we're probably looking at maybe 1.5 inches the most right here, and that is going to actually be perfect for her hair to really just thicken up and strengthen up the length. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring everything down to this one point in through here, into the back. And one pro tip, which I mentioned in all my cuts, is that when we're cutting behind the ear, we're gonna bring it straight back this way. I'm not gonna comb the hair out this way to cut. I'm literally gonna comb everything straight down, not over directing, but literally straight back this way, right behind the ear, to maintain the length going through the sides. All right, now that we've established the length in the back, it's time to connect this into the sides, and then we can start creating the angle in the front. So I'm gonna stand right in front of where I'm gonna be cutting, which is right here, which gives me a very clear view of where I'm positioning the hair and cutting it, where it's gonna fall. And then as we get towards the sides here working towards the front, this is like the key area when you start to notice what is going on from previous haircuts. So by combing this all straight down, we can see that this angle starts way back over and through here, all right? Which tells me that she's had a pretty severe angle in the past, which is fine. And what we need to do is we need to kind of like treat this with care, because and the ends in through here could be from previous coloring, could be from whatever, but we need to actually be very, very mindful of the ends. And sometimes a lot of this is just freehanding it like this without actually holding it in your hands to create a solid foundation. Then once you have that and you feel confident, you can then use your fingers to hold the hair. So what we're looking to do, and with a lot of my haircuts, when I see situations like this, where the ends maybe just overdue for a trim, we're looking to really strengthen this up. And instead of having it more of a fine and wispy texture throughout the ends, I'm actually looking to cut it a lot more blunt, so it thickens up the hair and just gives it a lot more volume. So as we work towards the face this way, I'm gonna actually now connect this working in through this area right here. All right, so I'm standing right in front here, and I can see exactly where I need to cut. And what I'm gonna start to do now is strengthen up this line going up this way, because that's where the pre-existing layers were. But what I wanna do is I wanna really strengthen this up to really bring out the awesome texture of her hair. And a lot of it is just looking at the previous haircut and the pre-existing shape. And that's usually, you can tell right away, as soon as you hold the hair out, you'll be able to see what needs to be cut. And a lot of it is based off of just experience of seeing it so many times. So what I'm doing is I'm working all this forward just to make sure it has a really seamless connection all the way from the very, very front. So I'm going to start to comb the hair a little bit more towards me, because I do want a thicker base to work off of right in through here. And now I'm going to comb this towards me. And what we're doing is we're literally working upwards like this. So my hands and my fingers are kind of mirroring the section of where I want to cut this. So it actually allows us to really control the layer and where everything's going to start. And I've done this a million times in my videos, but every situation is different. Okay, so I just want to show you guys from this angle what I'm doing. And just actually, if you look at this right now, you can just see this line right in through here, how much stronger that is. I mean, you can even see from the side angle. It's much thicker and it looks completely different than it did before, which is a good thing. Before it was just kind of long and stringy, where now we're just really strengthening that line up. So I'm gonna stand right in front this way, again. So keep your head still when I pull. And it's always important to tell your client, because sometimes when you're combing the hair, their head goes down with you, and you're gonna end up on the floor together. So you always wanna make sure that the client is keeping their head still for both your benefits, and position it exactly where you want it. So now what I'm doing is I'm combing all this forward, and I'm not looking to create high over direction, because I want to keep the foundation of the cut a little bit of a thicker line. And this is why I'm holding everything pretty much exactly where it is gonna be falling. So this side looks about complete. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to continue to do the same thing on the other side. Again, don't be afraid to go over it and over it to where you think everything is perfect, everything is balanced. And then another great way to check everything is when we actually do the internal layering. All right, so now that we're at the front of the head, we're able to kind of look directly on to see how everything is looking. And at this stage, I like to kind of bring everything forward and just kind of comb it down where it lives to see if the balance is good, to double check the length, make sure everything is all seamlessly flowing in together. And it's really important to take all the hair kind of coming from the back just to make sure that we're all really, really balanced. So I'm really over directing everything to the front. And the good thing is that there's hardly any hair that needs to be cut, because we're doing such a good job and we're keeping everything nice and balanced. And this is like really, really crucial to do this, because it's gonna save you time down the road. Also, it's gonna ensure a good haircut. You know, that's what the whole point of this is to really ensure a really, really good, consistent haircut. So now the best way to check to make sure things are kind of even and balanced is I'm going to comb everything straight down this way towards me. Even though she does have a side parting, I just want to make sure that, you know, there's not a huge difference as far as like the connection in through here, which really, fortunately, there isn't. We're actually doing really, really well in through here, as you can see. But you want to make sure that you're standing on all sides, that you're combing everything up, that you're really, really, really being thorough with this haircut. And again, we haven't even started the internal shape yet, but this is really going to be the foundation of the haircut. I always say with all haircuts, the foundation is the most important. And I'm making sure that my left elbow is like this. You can see the whole time I'm cutting. Very, very good posture. And great. So now we can hold everything this way and we can check. And we're in great shape right now. So now we're going to work on the internal shape in through here. Okay, because I'm so short, I had to raise the camera up like this. So let's get this hair out of her face so she can see. And now we're going to create our layering in through here, all right? So like with all my haircuts, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a horizontal section right at the top back of the head, and I'll spin her around in a minute. So this is the perfect opportunity to see what's going on with the layers and the shape of the haircut. So let's just spin her around right here so you can see where we're at, top back of the head right here, not up here, but kind of right in the middle because our focus is the back. So we're gonna comb everything straight up and we're gonna look. Now, I'm seeing this, that she can use about that much to come off, which isn't a whole lot, but what that's gonna do is it's actually gonna strengthen the layers once again. And also keep in mind that with all these haircuts, we have to connect this short piece with this long piece. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna create a much stronger flow and create more volume in the haircut. So we do have to always remember that, you know, we have to make sure it blends in, going shorter to longer. This way that the movement is not, it's much more of a flow than rather like, oh my gosh, her hair is so layered. You know, especially when someone wants to keep the hair longer. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut by creating a section right down the middle, and this is where we work in through the two different panels, right? And both panels are gonna be horizontal. So I'll go, but probably, there was the first one, and then one here, and then one more, and then the same thing on this side, and we're gonna comb everything straight up, and our guide is underneath what we just cut. And sometimes there's really not gonna be a whole lot of hair to cut, because you don't need to. So if you don't need to cut the hair, don't. You know, if the hair, on the other hand, you've got pieces that are like 3 or 4 inches longer than the rest, then they have to be cut because that's connecting the haircut. So let's breeze through the rest of this top section and then we'll come back and I'll demonstrate how to connect the top and the bottom. All right, so now from here to here, we have a beautifully connected shape, but the haircut is not over because we still have to connect this part into the bottom. We can't really forget about that. And in a lot of haircuts, I'm even cutting them myself, and I've even seen other hairstylists do it. What they'll do is they'll over-direct this all the way up here and cut up here, and then what happens is this all comes down and it's just one length and very heavy because they're not really dissecting the back of the head shape to really see the layers when you're cutting. So what I'm doing is I'm actually gonna now connect this in through the very, very, very bottom. Every section of hair needs to be cut. So let's just turn this a little bit more this way. I'm gonna comb everything straight out. Notice I'm following and I'm looking for those longer bits right in through here. So I'm gonna keep this section with my hand as my guide. You don't wanna lose that. And what we're doing is we're combing all the way down to the very, very, very bottom. Watch for it, wait. All right, there's the length that dropped out. So this is what's laying on top of the length. This is the part that no one ever layers. So this is why it's really, really crucial to cut this and to follow the head shape. And there's the length, and just that little tiny bit is what needs to come off. So what we've done is we've created a seamless layer all the way from the top right into here, all the way down to the very, very bottom or the nape area so that the entire section has great movement all the way from here all the way to the very, very bottom. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue this in the back of the head. The only thing I always like to mention to people is when you get to this part, don't bring it out here to layer it, bring it straight back. Don't go into the sides and corners yet because we have the top, the corners, and the sides. So we're gonna try to keep everything within this perimeter right behind the ear, and then we'll come back and move on to the next part when we're done with this. So the entire back of the head is now complete, and I just want to show you a couple of really important things. So if you notice me holding this in a ponytail, this is the area that we focus on. This is the part that we cut. All right, that's why this is separated behind the ear going towards the front, because this is considered the side of the head. All right, so what we've done between the division point is really focus on the entire back of the head, which now has a gorgeous connected shape, and it feels much, much thicker. And now we have to connect the back in through the top. All right, so like in all my hair cutting videos, I always like to describe this as, you know, you've got the back of the head, and then the top back, and then the top. So everybody thinks that the hair grows straight out from the head, okay, like this, like straight up, which it does at the flat part of the head, which is right here. All right, there's the comb. See, that's the flat part. So about right here where it lays flattest is where the hair grows straight up. So here, the hair is actually growing almost like this, on an angle this way, coming down the head. So the best thing to do is to follow the contour of the head shape to connect the back in through the top. And I say this in all my haircuts, all my videos, is that even on all my clients, it's the way I cut hair, and it comes out the most beautiful, and it has the most seamless layers. So what we're going to do is I'm going to spin her around this way so we can get a nice angle going this way, going shorter to longer. And this is where we actually start to connect into the top. All right, so I'm combing everything straight up. I'm looking for the longer part, which is right here, and I'm gonna cut straight across. So now I'm cutting into here, which is the actual top of the head. I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna create 3 sections that will mirror what we just did, and we're gonna cut straight across on the top. This is now the corner. I'm not touching that. I'm only sticking in the perimeter, or within the perimeter of the top. The corners are a whole separate thing. There we go, there's the guide, and we have to just cut that. So now we're in perfect shape. Everything is going smoothly, and now it's time to connect this part with the back. So here is where we can actually go on a horizontal section, because now we have our guide from the top, which is what we just cut. All right, everything is now connected. The back is done. We're no longer concerned with the back of the head because it's time to move on from that. So let the corners fall out of the section like this. We're gonna comb everything straight up, and there shouldn't be a whole lot of hair to cut. Just there's that little bit right there, which actually is good. That means that we're following along just right. And now in the very, very top here, because we went shorter into longer, we have to connect this, but we just need to now make sure that this is seamlessly connected in through the top into the back. So we're gonna take what I like to call almost like a mohawk section, taking part of this section of the head and also in the very, very top, because she does have a side parting. And what we're gonna do is comb it straight up from the head, or straight out from the head. Remember, this part right here grows out like this, okay? So it's not up this way, it actually grows out from the head. So we're gonna comb this all the way from the very, very front, and what we're gonna look for is any little bits that need to be connected. And this is the best way to tell if your haircut is balanced on both sides. And fortunately, we're perfect. If you see, like when you comb this up and you see like, inches and inches of hair that's just much, much longer, you either, you need to cut it, honestly, because that's what's gonna help keep the shape much more balanced. And it's also gonna help with the overall haircut. You shouldn't be having that. It means something kind of went wrong at some point. All right, so now we're ready to work in through the corners and then the sides. So now we're moving along nicely, and we have to now blend in the corners in through down here. So we're gonna follow the same pattern. I'm gonna start in the back of the head, and we're gonna comb everything, again, out from the head. Not straight up necessarily, but straight out from the way the hair grows. And I'm gonna comb this all the way up, and I'll drop this down so you guys can see. And there's just a little bit of hair that needs to be cut. So now I held on to that section, and we're going into the very, very sides, okay? I want you guys to really understand that it's important that you see this is the side. You can't leave this hair out down here because this is where you get the connected shape like we did in the back. We went all the way to the very, very length without cutting the length, but making sure everything on top of that is cut. I'm telling you, with all my experience of cutting hair, it's really essential to be this thorough, especially when you charge as much money that I do for a haircut. You want to be very, very thorough, and also you want the client to have a great experience as the hair grows out. You want the hair to look good in like 4 months, and that's the way I cut hair, to make sure that the hair looks phenomenal, as it grows out. And that's where being thorough really is important. So here we are right above the ear. There we go, there's the length. I don't need to cut anything, just that little tiny bit right on top of the length, which is going to ensure that movement. And again, if you notice, I'm literally using no clips. There's no clips. It's all done by just combing the hair out of the way so I can be a lot more efficient. All right, there's that little corner that needs to be cut there. And now we're going to work it all the way to the very, very bottom. Again, not hoping to cut a lot of hair because we've already done the face frame. And here is where we comb this entire section in the top all back together. I like to take a large section into here because it's going to help ensure that we're keeping a solid foundation of the haircut without removing too much weight. So this kind of acts as like a security blanket that allows us to keep the hair a bit thicker without cutting too much. And then we're going to go right into the bottom here. Again, I'm looking for probably little to nothing to be cut. And then if you see any little hairs, that's it. So now the entire side here is done. And just from, I could see already, just from the shape like this, what's happened is that we've really created a much thicker movement in through here. You can even see down through here as it's coming in. It's just much fuller and much thicker from the haircut. And she's got gorgeous natural waves too. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll come back and talk about the styling. All right, so the haircut is done, and what I like to do before I even move on to the styling part or the blow dry is I like to just run my fingers through it very, very lightly. You want to be gentle, but this is where you're checking for balance. This is where you're making sure everything is connected together and looking very, very good, which it is. Beautiful. So now I'm going to put in a product or two, and then we'll start the blow dry, which will be fun, and then we'll go into the breakdowns. Let's start with the finish right now. I'm gonna use a couple of products. I'm gonna start with support cream, which is going to help lock in the style and support the blow dry. I'm gonna use a little bit of like this, and I'm going to work through my hands and then work it through the ends. And as I'm doing this, I'm seeing that she's got, gorgeous waves. And, if you want to let this air dry, you can work the product in, and then you can bring it all forward and just kind of let it air dry like this, which will naturally have a nice natural shape to it. So that's an option. So next I'm gonna take a little bit of my new product, Sleek, which I'm literally, look at that, see? Which is an amazing product. It's a Very, very lightweight argan oil, avocado oil, geranium oil, and it's really, really incredible. So I'm gonna work this through the hair, and what's gonna help with the ends here to really make them nice and silky and smooth, help defrizz, and it's very, very lightweight. And the smell is phenomenal. And that's not just my cologne, that's the products. All right, so now that the product is worked through, let's start with the blow dry and the finish, and then we'll come back and we'll do the money shot. All right, guys, so we have the finished blow dry, and I use the Dyson airwrap to create these beautiful waves. So now is the moment we've been waiting for, which is the money shot. So let's go. So head forward this way, look right into the camera, and look at that, huh? Gorgeous. She can't see it yet. Now she can see it. Beautiful. So now we're just gonna kind of work these waves in with our fingers here. And as you can see, really, really gorgeous result. Bouncy waves. And the haircut really now is just much thicker, much fuller, and it's got great, great texture and great volume to it. So now let's talk about the breakdown. All right, guys, so let's talk about the breakdown of the haircut. Again, what we're looking to do was strengthen up the length in through the back and through here, which we did because I felt the ends needed a little bit more thickening up throughout the bottom and through here. And then we created the shape following the head shape, so the hair grows out from the head this way, connected our layers, worked in a beautiful face frame, and then I went in and blow dried it with the Dyson airwrap, which is a new tool which I'm still playing around with and getting used to. As a professional, I think it's really, really a time saver, and you don't have to worry about burning your hands or worry about, like, with the curling iron. Pretty efficient, so I think it's a great tool. And I think this looks phenomenal. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and click the bell so you're notified of when my videos go live. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more videos with a salon guy.